Sigiriya is truly a peak achievement of ancient construction techniques. Located in Sri Lanka, a country south of India and home to thousands of temples and UNESCO World Heritage Sites, is Sigiriya, a city built on top of a massive single rock almost 200 meters high. A UNESCO World Heritage Site since 1982, this ancient structure is visited by thousands of tourists every year. And more importantly, the site is not just a tourist destination, it's actually a place of worship that dates back thousands of years. Archaeological excavations around Sigiriya show us that the area has been actively inhabited for 5,000 years. When we examine Sigiriya, we come across two histories. The first is written, the history we know. In the late 5th century, King Kashyapa ruled Sri Lanka from 473 to 495. Of course, it's not that simple. There has to be some drama in those days. Prince Kashyapa, in order to become king, killed his brother, the true heir to the throne. And if that wasn't enough, he also killed his father. Of course, this dark personality of his made everyone hate him. And for this reason, it is said that the king constantly lived in fear of being killed. This fear drove him to leave his palace and move to the area surrounding Sigiriya. Legend has it that King Kashyapa, afraid of being killed by his brothers, built his impenetrable and inaccessible palace on top of this ancient monolithic rock like a fortress. But he who betrays will be betrayed. And fate catches up with Kashyapa, just as he did to his brother. His brothers gather an army to betray him, and eventually all of Kashyapa's forces are destroyed. He commits suicide when he realizes he will be captured, and his story ends. After Kashyapa's death, his brother Moggallana takes over and gives the area to Buddhist monks as a gift. Although the area was known as a Buddhist center until the 14th century, it was eventually forgotten. It would be rediscovered centuries later by Major Jonathan Forbes, a British Army officer exploring the area. Things will now slowly shift from normal history to three histories. Get ready. After Forbes's discovery of the site, Western archaeologists from time to time began to conduct excavations and studies, and the findings are quite surprising. It is beginning to be understood that Sigiriya, said to have been built by Kashyapa, has extremely advanced engineering for that period in human history. The almost perfectly flattened top of the 200-meter-high rock is filled with symmetrical and asymmetrical structures to fit the natural form of the area. By the way, we're talking about a rock, but the top of Sigiriya covers an area of 16,000 square meters. It is made of charnocite, an extremely hard type of granite, and its Mohs hardness level is 7. Think about it, a diamond is 10. But archaeologists of that time didn't go into such details, technology. So they make sure that the ruins on the site are included in history books by interpreting them as houses, warehouses, etc., belonging to the palace. Surprising evidence is beginning to be understood with our developing technology. We realize that the main structure on top of the mountain was built in the shape of a large step pyramid. It was even built almost exactly like the pyramids in the city of Teotihuacan. We know that clay bricks were generally used in the structures on top of the mountain. This is not a very unusual situation. What is unusual is how at least 3 million clay bricks were carried up this steep 200-meter-high mountain, because there are no remains of a staircase system in the area. What makes things even more complicated is that mainstream history tells us that this structure was built by King Kashyapa, whom I just mentioned. But the king's reign lasted only 22 years, and according to what is said, the construction of Sigiriya began in 477 and was completed in 485, that is, 7 years later. Now, let alone the shaving and leveling of the top of the mountain to accommodate the structure, just to bring the 3 million bricks that make up the walls to the area in 7 years, 1,174 bricks would have to be transported and laid every day. This wouldn't be a problem if we were talking about a normal construction site. But the area we're talking about is a steep, 200-meter-high rock in the middle of dense forest. And that's not all. All the roads and steps in the area were made by laying tons of heavy marble blocks. This is a building material that was unheard of in the region at the time, and even today, experts don't know from which quarry around the region this marble came, because there is not a single marble quarry in the vicinity. We can't even explain this logistical problem today, because even with the current metal staircase system, it takes 2 hours to climb from the ground to the top of the structure. Unfortunately, there is no logical explanation yet as to how tons of heavy materials were transported to the structure without stairs, and the wonders don't end there. There are various regular carvings in the structure that are thought to be much older than 1,500 years ago, and we don't know how or why these carvings, or rather these agricultural carvings, were made. Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to see you in another historical mystery. Stay well.